المشاهدون الكرام في كل مكان، مشاهدي قناة سودانية 24 ومتابعي برنامج كنا هناك. اليوم تشهد قاعة النيل بفندق السلام الخرطوم الاحتفال بعيد التحرير الثامن والعشرين لجمهورية رواندا. متابعة طيبة.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evenings. My names are Aziza Ginawi, and I am honored to be your MC tonight. We are gathered here tonight to celebrate the 28th celebration, Kwibuhora 28, that marked annually to remind us of the liberation struggle and campaign against genocide that stopped in 1994, genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, on 4th of July 1994. Following the successful stopping of the genocide, Rwanda has undergone huge transformation, thus to the celebration today. Thank you for joining us tonight, and allow me to present the flow of tonight's event. الضيوف الكرام، السيدات والسادة، أسعد الله مساءكم بكل خير. معكم عزيزة جناوي، ويشرفني أن أكون مقدمة البرنامج الليلة. نحن مجتمعون اليوم للاحتفال بالسنة 28 للتحرير، كويبوهورا، وهو اليوم الذي يذكرنا كل عام بالكفاح من أجل التحرر من الإبادة الجماعية، والذي كان عام 1994. الإبادة الجماعية ضد التوتسي في رواندا شهدت تحولا هائلا، وهو ما نحتفل به اليوم. شكرا جزيلا لوجودكم معنا اليوم. اسمحوا لي أن أقدم لكم نبذة عن برنامجنا اليوم. نشيد العلم، فيديو عن رواندا، ملاحظات مع السيد رئيس البعثة الرواندية، قطع الكيكة، وعرض راقص مع الفرقة الثقافية والمرتبات.
Reka tukurate tukuvuge ibigwi, utubumbiye hamwe twese abanyarwanda uko watubyaye. Berwa sugira singizwa iteka, komeza imihigo Rwanda dukunda, tuhagurukiye kukwitangira, w'amahoro asabe mu bagutuye. Wishyire wizane muri byose, urangwe n'ishyakutera imbere, uhamye umubano n'amahanga yose, maze ijambo ryawe riguhe ijambo.
نحن جند الله جند الوطن، ادعى داعي الفداء لن نخن، نتحدى الموت عند المحن، نشتري المجد بأغلى ثمن. هذه الأرض لنا فليعش سوداننا علما بين الأمم. يا بني السودان هذا رمزكم، يحمل العتق ويحمي أرضكم.
As we mark the 28th anniversary of Rwanda's liberation, we reflect on how far we have come as a nation.
Liberation sometimes includes a military campaign, but it never ends with one. That is where Rwanda is today, in the phase of struggle that begins after the guns have finally fallen silent.
On the 4th of July, we celebrate the rebirth of our country that guaranteed security and restored dignity and hope for all Rwandans. 28 years ago, after the RPF Inkotanyi stopped the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, Rwandans collectively made a choice to stay together, to be accountable, and to think big. These principles remain at the core of Rwanda's ongoing renewal. The country is rapidly developing and progressively alleviating poverty and promoting well-being through targeted policies and programs that benefit all Rwandans. From maintaining peace and security to promoting gender equality, ensuring education for all, providing healthcare even in remote rural areas, conserving the environment, and fostering good relations with other countries. Rwanda's liberation continues to be an inspiration for all citizens everywhere to work for a brighter future and safeguard our shared achievements. Indeed, together we prosper. Happy Liberation Day, Rwanda.
Your Excellency, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies, Ambassadors, Heads of regional and international organizations, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is an honor for me to welcome you all to the celebration of Rwanda's 28th Liberation or Kwibohora and her 60th Independence anniversary. I wish to appreciate and thank you, Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, respected friends of Rwanda, and fellow compatriots for joining us today. I know we have another ongoing National Day hosted by the US. We also have long holidays that are beginning. We don't thus take your presence with us for granted. We thank you once again. This year's liberation is celebrated under the theme, Together we Prosper. The 1994 genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda, which began on 7th April, was stopped by the 4th of July through a military campaign launched by the Rwanda Patriotic Front, or the RPF. Nationally, Rwanda's liberation is celebrated on 4th July. This day marks an end to the darkest chapter of Rwanda's history that lasted for over 3 decades and took away over 1 million lives through the last genocide of the 20th century. And I hope it is the last one forever. This genocide is rooted in the colonial masters' divide and rule policy, which helped turn what were social classes into ethnic classifications. The divide and rule policy transited into systemic discrimination and hate against Tutsi, which led to mass murders and the exiling of hundreds of thousands of Tutsi into neighboring countries from as far back as 1959. More security killings by government continued even after independence in 1962, with the resultant refugees continuing to flow out of Rwanda for a period spanning for over 3 decades. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, by 1990, over 1 million Rwandans had been rendered stateless, and millions others inside the country wallowed in abject poverty and ignorance. Millions in Rwanda were also either discriminated on account of being Tutsi or their region of origin. After failing to resolve this conflict situation by peaceful means, Rwanda Patriotic Front launched a liberation struggle on 1st October 1990. It is thanks to these young men and women under the RPF and able leadership of President Paul Kagame that we are celebrating today. A day when both Rwandans and friends pay tribute to these young men and women whose selfless efforts of bravery helped stop the 1994 genocide. A day that heralded a new chapter where hope replaced despair and social justice became the solid bedrock of all our national policy formulation. as put by President Paul Kagame during the 25th celebration of our Liberation Day, and I quote, "Liberation was not about restoring the past, but creating something fundamentally new and better for all Rwandans." The fight was necessary and indeed unavoidable. If there will ever be necessity for more fights, we will be there. End of quote. This speaks to the leadership's vision as well as its unwavering commitment to holistically achieve the purpose for which the Rwandan liberation was waged. The new chapter occasioned by the liberation of Rwanda is reputed for resuscitating Rwandan values, rebuilding social cohesion, commencing the fight against genocide-related impunity, ensuring collective identity is not based on ethnicity, but civic identity of all Rwandans, delivering ongoing economic transformation and rehabilitating Rwanda's image in the international community of nations. The sacrifices of these young men and women brought a new dawn that radically turned around Rwanda's fortunes and raised the hopes and aspirations of Rwandans. Many paid the ultimate price, both during the liberation struggle and the campaign against the genocide. We are forever indebted and can only honor them by sustainably doing what is good for Rwanda and defending all values for which they laid their lives. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the broad-based government established after the RPF had successfully stopped the genocide inherited a huge challenge of salvaging a near-failed state, and moreover, amidst a raging insurgency perpetrated in the late 1990s by remnants of those that had planned and committed the 1994 genocide against Tutsi. This insurgency was led by a now internationally listed terrorist group called the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, and is comprised of the former armed forces of Rwanda, ex-FAR, and Interahamwe militias. Moreover, at the end of the genocide in 1994, this terrorist group held hostage over 3 million Rwandan refugees headed into eastern DRC for their continuous replenishment of the insurgency against Rwanda. The post-1994 government prioritized attainment of sustainable peace and security as a sine qua non for resuscitation of the much-needed unity and reconciliation among Rwandans, as well as the much-needed economic transformation. Decades of economic mismanagement and politics of hate and ethnic discrimination called for urgent formulation and implementation of remedial policies. The post-genocide government worked with urgency to establish a governance system that delivers a just society that is secure and devoid of hate and discrimination among Rwandans. Equally prioritized was the delivery of better living conditions for all Rwandans. The over 3 million refugees erstwhile under captivity of the FDLR genocidal force was rescued, repatriated, and reintegrated in society before closure of the 20th century. Though not yet fully destroyed, FDLR has been effectively weakened. Transitional justice was served through Gacaca restorative justice system, and reconciliation and unity has irrefutably taken root despite decades of divide and rule by the colonial masters, as well as the hate and discriminatory policies of the post-independence governments, which birthed the plan for total extermination of Tutsi, a plan regrettably executed to near perfection. Rwanda today is playing a leading role in peace-building efforts around the world, including in Mozambique, in the Central African Republic, in South Sudan, in Haiti, and until last year, here in the Sudan. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to ensure that Rwanda's developmental model is people-centered, Rwandans chose consensual democracy, which is an all-inclusive consultative system of governance, as opposed to confrontational democracy, where winner takes all. Rwanda's constitution has since institutionalized power sharing, where winner of the presidency must share power with other political parties. No single political party can thus have more than 50% share of cabinet, nor the legislature. Relatively, a National Consultative Forum of Political Organizations, NPO, was established and its leadership is rotational. This is a permanent platform that brings together political organizations for the purpose of political dialogue, consensus building, and national cohesion. The NFPO currently has a total membership of 11 political parties registered in Rwanda. In confronting the many political, social, judicial, and economic challenges, a myriad of homegrown solutions were initiated and new laws promulgated. Relevant institutions were established to reconcile and rebuild unity among Rwandans, ensure accountability, and implement relevant strategic policies. These homegrown solutions, the newly established institutions, and newly promulgated laws were informed by Rwanda's national context and challenges of the day. A few examples of these homegrown solutions include Umushyikirano, or National Dialogue Council, which is chaired by the President and is an annual town hall consultative and accountability meeting between the citizenry and the whole government or leadership. Number two, Umuganda, or Community Work for National Interest, which is conducted every last Saturday of the month. I'm sure most of you have heard of this homegrown solution. Number three, Jiringa, or One Cow Per Family, per Poor Family, which is for poverty alleviation. Number four, Ubudehe, also for poverty alleviation, and it involves projects with community participation. And Gachacha Courts, which is a transitional form of justice that was established in 2002 and ran until 2012. And at its closure, it had handled over 1 million cases that one way or the other had been involved in the 1994 genocide against Tutsi. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, 28 years after the genocide, the courage and resilience of Rwandans, coupled with strategic policy interventions, as well as a visionary and effective leadership, have all helped achieve commendable progress across all sectors. From innovative use of technologies and government efficiency, achieving all 8 UN Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, before transitioning to the Sustainable Development Goals in 2015, reconciling and uniting Rwandans after decades of systemic extreme hate and discrimination, repatriation and reintegration of millions of refugees in the late 1990s, trial of over 1 million genocide suspects through the Gachacha courts that I've just mentioned, universal health care now at 95% of our total entire population, establishing and operationalizing vital institutions of accountability, empowering women, now at 61% of parliament, 51% of cabinet, and over 50% of our chief executives, empowering Rwandan youth through numerous capacity building interventions, including education, leadership transformation, and civic engagements, supporting the most vulnerable, and delivering ongoing economic transformation, including massive infrastructure development, e.g. in electricity, where now we are at 70% access to all Rwandan residents and targeting 100% access by 2024. Water facilities or infrastructure, health facilities, road networks, in which for now we rank third in Africa by the World Bank's Global Competitive Report Index for best quality roads, and modern sports facilities as well as conference facilities. The current development blueprint, Vision 2050, aims at making Rwanda a middle-income country by 2035 and high-income country by 2050. After contraction by 3.4% in 2020 due to COVID-19 pandemic, the economy rebounded with a 10.2% in 2021 and 7.9% during the first quarter of 2022. In leveraging modern technology, Rwanda aims to become a trusted hub for digital financial services and technology innovation in the region and beyond. The Kigali International Financial Center, which is now ranked among the top 5 on the continent, the Kigali Innovation City, our small US Silicon Valley, the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution are examples born out of this vision. The successful hosting of the World Telecommunications Development Conference, World WTDC, and the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting last June is evidence of the country's ever-growing competitiveness in hosting meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. It is also a strong testimony of the country's ever-growing commitment to positively contribute to issues of global interest. Rwanda's interventions on international migration that include migrants lifted from Israel, young girls from Afghanistan, and thousands airlifted out of Libya to Rwanda as far back as 2018 should be seen in the same light. About 1,000 of the Libyan group have already been resettled overseas. We thank countries that supported in helping those in need. It is, however, worth noting that despite the impressive milestones, Rwanda, like any other country, is still faced with numerous challenges. These challenges include, number one, ongoing economic transformation, which is still work in progress. Number two, though weak, the FDLR, still a terrorist group, still operates in eastern DRC, and there's a nuisance threat to regional peace and stability. Number three, denial and revisions of the 1994 genocide against Tutsi, propagated by genocide fugitives and their support networks across the globe. And number four, corrosive hate speeches and genocide-related extremist ideology. Inaction on genocide fugitives by the international community only perpetuates genocide-related impunity. We thank countries that have helped in apprehending these genocide fugitives and helping put them to trial. However, the security of Rwanda residents and the country in general is assured by current high level of social cohesion among Rwandans, capacity of Rwandan security institutions to ensure maximum security for Rwanda, and the government's uncompromising commitment to continuously improve the livelihoods of Rwandans. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, noting how far we have come since 1994, Rwandans have much to celebrate and pride in. We are, however, mindful of the fact that liberation is never total, and we're always reminded by our leadership to never be complacent. We are at every stage of this transformative journey to jealously protect our gains and together reinvigorate our energies and innovative ways to increase our pace of moving forward. We are also reminded of the need to continue building and nourishing valuable friendships. To ensure sustained continuity into the future, Rwandan youth are equitably being prepared with practical leadership lessons and through myriad civic engagements to, at the appropriate time, take on the national leadership baton with ease and elegancy. As I conclude, the current phase of liberation aims to consolidate what has so far been achieved while also increasing the pace of ongoing economic transformation. Rwanda appreciates friends and partners for the distance covered so far, and moving forward counts on their continued goodwill and support. Relatedly, I wish to thank the people and government of the Republic of the Sudan for the continued growth of our bilateral relations. We are seeing steady growth of people-to-people interactions, both at political and business levels, and I'm sure we'll have a fairly good representation of the business community here. With Rwanda's open visa policy and her renowned ease of doing business, where it is now ranked second on the continent and 38th globally, we can only encourage more Sudan-based tourists and investors to have Rwanda on their priority menu for tourism, business, and investment. Those in business should make this choice assured of their red carpet treatment and excellent returns on their investment. Murakoze cyane. God bless you all. Barak Arehu Fikum.
Today, the Rwandese living in Khartoum and Sudanese and friends of Rwanda, members of diplomatic corps, ambassadors are here to celebrate the Rwanda's Liberation Day. A very, very important day in the history of Rwanda, where the country that was considered as a failed state was rebuilt out of love that people had for their country. So from then, everyone knows how Rwanda has been transformed under the able leadership of the President Paul Kagame. And so this is what we are doing today, to celebrate, to look back and see where we have come from, and then organize ourselves as a country where everyone participates in national reconstruction to see where we should be going moving forward. So it's really a very important day for our country.
Bigarama umurenzo wo kurwanamiza umutwaro utangira muze ngabo yanze gushira amakenga ati ndi nkera yabeza atori icyogere mu kuba ntagome ntabaza nyiri cyubahiro mu igugu nimu bitaro taganira imbarto tamye nigenzi bari man baba batabaza gushaka kutagira ibyo umuntu yego aha sanzwe iwe nyabusuma zifura intege bwiza bwayo ndutira buhose zirusha kwera ari inyamibwa yakuze neza mwini wacu baragushaka ngwino se nyamuseka zigashoka neza mugabire gaju ndaje ngusanga dore nyiramuye uko areshya ngo guhobera n'urukundo ndoro yabeze urujeni mu bakobwa ari inyami zirusha kwera ari inyamibwa yakuze neza mwini wacu bararushaka izire se wowe kwezi gukina mu bicu ahabonywe n'abakamisha mwini wacu baragushaka ngaho ngwino se cyuzuzo wowe cyuzuriza ababyeyi kigasagurira imiryango ngwini wacu baragushaka ari inyami zirusha kwera ari inyamibwa yakuze neza ngwini wacu baragushaka iyizire nzobidahanda kaze neza umuteta bikwiye ari hehe rugabanya babisha ngo akuguyaguya kugushe neza iyizire icyogere mu nkuba rudatezuka ku rugamba ubutore niwe tukesha sibo y'intore tukuririmbe ari inyami zirusha kwera ari inyamibwa yakuze neza mwini wacu bararushaka ubundi bwose n'umugozi rwamugenza ku bitabo mugendera mu nyamibwa batirija rwigema imbaraga rutendeze cyuma yari intwari nkubakiza igenza yakunze u Rwanda aranarupfira abawe twese turakurata muze shenge bana b'u Rwanda murakagwira
My name is Vera Solange. Today we are very happy. Today is our Liberation Day, Rwandan Liberation Day. So it's when the all Rwandan come together and celebrate the success and the achievement so far the Rwandan have made so far